A warm welcome to another episode of SciencePunk Explains the Frame Budget Approach. So, after our intermezzo on quantum measurement and tunneling, we're going to pivot to a totally different kind of testing ground. We're asking, do these ridiculously precise clocks just give us better time measurement, or do they actually tell us something new about what time is in physics? All right, let's get into it. Here's what we've got lined up. We'll kick things off with the mind-blowing tech of optical clocks. Then we'll ask the big question, what are they really measuring? From there, we'll dive into the FBI's idea of time without a clock, get a look from the inside at what measurement actually is, and then wrap up by seeing how this all turns these devices into a completely new kind of test. Okay, first up, the pinnacle of precision. Let's really try to get a feel for just how insanely good these modern clocks have become. Yeah, you're reading that right. That is not a typo. Today's optical clocks are so ridiculously stable that they wouldn't lose or gain a single second in 30 billion years. That's more than twice the entire age of the known universe. These are, hands down, the most precise instruments humanity has ever built, period.
Now, the usual way of thinking about this is, well, it's pretty simple, right? We've got this thing called time. It flows along nicely in the background, and these clocks are just getting better and better at chopping it up into smaller and smaller pieces. A better clock just means a sharper picture of that one universal flow of time. But what if that's not really what's happening? See, this is where that extreme precision really starts to cause some trouble. It forces us to step back and ask a much, much deeper question. What is it exactly that we're measuring here? And this is really the heart of the matter. Just because we can add more decimal places to our measurement, does that automatically mean we're getting a closer look at some fundamental substance called time? Or is something else going on entirely? This is the kind of conceptual pressure these amazing experiments are putting on physics. So it really boils down to this fundamental conflict. On one side, you've got the classic view. The clock is just a meter stick for that great river of time. But on the other side, you've got this operational view that our precision forces on us. Is a clock actually just a super sophisticated comparison tool, pitting one very stable physical process, like an atom flipping states, against another? And this is exactly where the frame budget approach comes in and offers a completely different way out of this dilemma. It tackles the tension by just rethinking what we mean by time from the ground up. The first thing the FBA does is let go of that river analogy entirely. It just says, hey, what if there is no independent, pre-existing flow of time for a clock to measure in the first place? And you can see right away this is a pretty radical break from how we usually think. So if time isn't a flowing river, then what is it? Well, in the FBA, what we call proper time isn't a substance at all. It's an emergent property. It's the total count of all the internal, step-by-step changes a system goes through. So it's less like you're reading a universal clock and more like you're counting the clicks of a system's own internal engine. The FBA counts updates, not seconds. And this totally flips the job description of a clock. If there's no river of time to measure, a clock's new job is to compare the internal work, that stepwise development, of one system against the super regular, super predictable development of another, like the atoms that are at the heart of the clock itself. All right, let's go one layer deeper. To really get what the FBA is saying, you have to look at the act of measurement itself. This quote from the source material just nails it. We can never step outside of physics to get some pure, unfiltered look at time. Every measurement we make is itself a physical process that happens inside the universe. We're part of the system we're trying to measure. You know, even something we think of as simple, like reading a clock, is this whole cascade of physical events. An atom has to transition, which then interacts with a laser, which creates a photon that has to be detected, which triggers electronics that have to count it, which finally puts a number on a screen. It's a chain of real interactions, from top to bottom. There's no magic portal where we suddenly see time. And here's a really basic diagram of what that chain looks like. You've got a detector, D, that has to physically couple to some system A. A signal has to travel to another system B, and then it gets registered. Every single step here, the interaction, the transport, the registration, is a real physical process. It's not a metaphor. It's literally how measurement works.
So, let's pull all this back together. Given this whole new perspective, what does that actually mean for our amazing, super precise clocks?
Well, in the FBA framework, we kind of have to rename them. They're not just timekeepers in the old sense of the word. They are ultra-precise comparison machines. They're tools that let us compare the rate of physical development in different systems with a level of accuracy we've never had before.
And that brings us to the real punchline. Suddenly, these experiments are not just about a technical race to get more decimal places. They become a laboratory, a stress test for our most basic ideas about time. They push the FBA's definition of time right to the breaking point and force us to be precise, not just in our measurements, but in our words and concepts too.
So, if you're going to take away 3 things, let it be these. 1, the sheer precision of optical clocks really puts a dent in that simple idea of a universal flowing time. 2, in the frame budget approach, clocks aren't measuring time. They're comparing differences in physical development. And 3, every measurement is a physical process, which means we never get that free glimpse of time itself.
But that, of course, raises the obvious next question. If these incredible machines are really just comparing the rates of physical change, how would you even design an experiment to look for fundamental differences in that development? How do we actually test the idea?
In the next episode, we make the testing question fully concrete and look at null tests. How do you test more than just beautiful words? Bye for now until the next episode, and stay curious.